Y'all want to know the real reason Big Juke got killed? He was lazy. Yeah, I said it.
2 years after Big Juke was gunned down outside a Memphis restaurant, rapper Bo Lil Kenny got dragged out a row of bushes after a wild police chase. The internet locked in. Yodi stayed silent. But did the streets really find their man? Let's get into it. Pulled from the bushes. Mid-January 2026, video clips started spreading out the M showing the laws swarming a residential block on the Westwood side. Dude, in the middle of all that smoke was Kenneth Mason, the rap known as Bo Lil Kenny. According to posts that hit Memphis pages first, Lil Kenny had took the police on a high-speed run through the city, then bailed out the whip on foot. The boys ended up dragging him out a row of bushes where he tried to lay low. Within hours, screenshots and clips of that pickup was everywhere. Facebook, IG, YouTube, same headline kept landing in front of everybody's face. Bo Lil Kenny, the man tied to Big Juke. Some posts said he'd been quietly named months back and was finally caught after going ghost. Others said Yodi and CMG had pieced together who hit Big Juke and finally cornered him. Almost overnight, a rapper that mostly moved in Memphis underground rooms became the loudest hip-hop conversation of the year. To get how heavy that moment landed, you got to remember what Big Juke's name meant in that city. When Memphis rapper Big Boogie sat down to talk about the day he found out Big Juke had got killed, he ain't even need to dress it up.
Where were you when you found out that Big Juke had got killed?
Man, I was on the way here.
That's the kind of weight a Big Juke chapter carries in Memphis in the middle of their day stopping to process it. So when Bo Lil Kenny got dragged out them bushes 2 years later, the city locked in for a reason. It wasn't hard to see why locked in either. Kenny's whole catalog stays in that Memphis street pocket versus about sets, ops, and bodies in the city. Soon as people started running through his music, certain bars stood out. Lines that, depending on how you read them, sounded like he was nodding to the Big Juke hit. The internet labeled them snitching lyrics. Comment sections lit up, pointing at specific details. They argued only a shooter would know. One of the most circulated Memphis voices on the case put it plain that the streets had been watching, putting things together long before any arrest made the news.
If you know what I'm saying, look around, you'll see certain people saying certain things. And, you put two and two together. But yeah, condolences is what it is, though.
That right there was the whole engine behind the Bo Lil Kenny rumor mill. Memphis adding up loose ends, putting two and two together, building cases out the corner of their eye. Then there was the chase itself. The fact that he got pulled out the bushes, physically running and ducking from the boys, became the whole symbol of the moment. Memphis YouTube channels framed the bushes like a guilty conscience. Some commentary pages went further, calling him comfortable in the bushes, like he'd been hiding in plain sight for 2 years until the heat finally landed on him. Some clips called it the day Big Juke's killer got dragged out the cut. Others framed it like Yo Gotti finally got his hands on the man. It didn't help that Yo Gotti himself ain't said nothing through none of it. The CMG founder hasn't really spoke on his brother's death on camera since it happened through 2024 and 2025. Anything that came from his side came in slick ways. Bars and songs, cryptic IG posts, lines passed through people in his circle. So when the Lil Kenny chase popped off and Gotti stayed mute, the streets read that silence as confirmation. According to the viral posts, Kenny got held briefly at Shelby County before walking out within days. Early claims said he was picked up on charges connected to Big Juke's murder. Others said he was being held while the case was being built. The chase footage, the mugshot, the court appearance, all of it kept getting recycled with new captions. Every one of them locking in the idea that he was the man behind everything. Then came the moment that gave the title its phrase. Soon as Kenny got out, he addressed the noise directly. In short clips that started running across Memphis pages, he came out and said he ain't have nothing to do with Big Juke's killing. He talked about how the internet had blew up around him, how he caught extra hours in interrogation just because of how loud the chatter was, and how social media had blurred the line between rumor and what's real. In one clip that got passed around heavy, he called the internet a dangerous drug, a line that became its own moment for pushing the killer theory. It was the long, aided break of silence after Gotti supposedly tracked him down. For the doubters, it was a denial that needed a closer look. Either way, the conversation around Big Juke's case had took a turn nobody saw coming. Kenny's pickup came damn near exactly 2 years after Big Juke got hit outside that Memphis restaurant in January 2024. And for everybody pushing the retaliation theory tied to the Young Dolph killing, the timing felt like a script. To understand why the connection felt so easy to draw, though, you got to walk back to the day in January 2024 that took Anthony Big Juke Mims off the map. The killing of Big Juke. The afternoon of January 13th, 2024, around 4:15 p.m. shots rang out outside Paranon's restaurant and event center on Winchester Road, tucked inside Hickory Hill. An off-duty officer in the area heard the shots and ran toward him. By the time the laws got there, 2 men was hit. One of them, Big Juke, was slumped inside a vehicle, hit multiple times. They rushed him to St. Francis Hospital, where he was pronounced dead a little while later. The second man caught a few, too, but lived. The breaking news that night carried a heavy weight in the city. The setting itself made the whole thing darker. Big Juke wasn't out there for club night. He was at a repast, that post-funeral gathering Memphis families do. For a relative named Eric Bowen, getting hit at a repast in the middle of the day outside a public spot. Even Memphis OGs called that crazy. It wasn't a club shooting. It wasn't a beef gone wrong on the corner. It was an ambush done while the family was already grieving. Witnesses said the shooters bounced in a white Ford Explorer. Black wheels, dark tints, no plates. From jump, every detail pointed to the same thing. Big Juke was the target. And that word target was heavy because Big Juke wasn't no random Memphis name. At 47, he was deep inside CMG, the label his little brother Yodi built. His title said executive, but his real reach in the city was way wider than that. He was one of the connectors that let CMG move how it moved. The autopsy notes that came out later only made it worse. 6 firearm-related injuries, including hits to the head and neck. The hit was planned, executed, and walked away from with the kind of precision that left investigators with damn near nothing. His final IG post, dropped one day before he got hit, became the haunting part. He wrote, "They don't want to face you. They want to snake you. Stay alert to stay alive. Watch your back at all times." One of the most damning takes on the security failure that day came from Memphis figure Hernandez Govan, who spoke publicly about how Big Juke should have been moving different.
All I want to say is it was expected because I feel like I wasn't expecting it to happen because the Juke that I know, I thought Juke would have been moving better, you know. But to Juke's defense, you know, he had some security out there with him, but he ain't had the right people. Because when them pulled up, Juke had a officer standing right there with him with 100 shots, and the officer took out running. You know what I'm saying? So he had the wrong person.
That commentary right there about Big Juke having the wrong people on him at the wrong time became one of the most circulated takes in the M. The funeral was packed with heavy police presence. Gotti stayed quiet, posted some cryptic tributes, but the months started passing, then a year, then another. By the time the commercial appeal hit the case again in August 2025, MPD was still saying they had no named suspects. Over 18 months later, the white Explorer ain't led to nobody charged. The footage ain't produced no name. The case sat open and quiet. For a city as locked into its rap scene as Memphis, the silence felt unbearable. And that's when the question that always comes with an unsolved Memphis murder started ringing. Who would have wanted Big Juke smoked? Memphis already had its answer. The $100,000 hit, the rapper named Young Dolph, and the trial testimony that put Big Juke's name in a courtroom long before he was ever laid to rest. The $100,000 hit that cost him everything. To get why the speculation around Big Juke never died down, you gotta walk back to November 17, 2021. That afternoon, Adolph Thornton Jr., Young Dolph, pulled up to Makida's homemade butter cookies on Airways, walked inside to grab some cookies. 2 shooters jumped out a white Mercedes and dumped about 22 rounds in him with a handgun and a semi-auto rifle. He ain't make it. The first videos that leaked caught the raw panic everybody felt when the news dropped.
Bro, they didn't kill Young Dolph, bro. What the Bruh. Ain't no way these folks just killed Dolph. Ain't no way these folks just straight came and ran down on Dolph. That I figured it. That's what I'm saying.
Damn! I'm supposed to be on some hating ass shit, back.
Bruh, no. These folks just straight kill Young Dolph.
What turned it from a tragedy into an industry-shaking case was the trial that hit in late 2024 when one of the alleged shooters, Cornelius Smith, took the stand and started laying out exactly how the hit was planned, paid for, and ran. The man behind it, he said, was Big Juke himself. Smith told the court, Big Juke ordered a $100,000 hit on Dolph for years of disrespect, diss tracks, and label beef between CMG and Paper Route Empire. The split, Smith testified, was simple in its coldness. $40,000 to Smith, $40,000 to Justin Straight Drop Johnson, $20,000 to alleged middleman Hernandez Gon. Smith pulled the curtain back on what Memphis already suspected. Him and Johnson knew there was a bag on Dolph. They was going to catch him at the Turkey Drive. Dolph famously ran every year, but when they spotted his car at the bakery, the play changed. They pulled up, they opened up, they walked off, and per Smith's testimony, that very night, they FaceTimed Big Juke to confirm the work, using coded language and even sign language to spell Dolph's name. The money side was almost as cold as the violence. Smith said he was promised the kind of bag that could change his life, and only got a piece of it, $800 of the $40,000 before he caught a case. He testified he did it on his daughter's birthday, trying to earn enough to get her a present. Gon himself broke down how wild that part of the story was.
I know he got one because he spoke. He said the day that he killed Dolph, he was trying to earn some money to get a birthday present or something. You know, which is some of the craziest shit, you know, for you to say that, for you to go take another man's life or an artist that's done help the city and, you know, and give out turkeys every year because you're trying to get your daughter a birthday present. Man, you should be able to go charge a pitch for a birthday gift. Yeah, that was wild, you know, so that should give...
It taught me a lot about Memphis right there.
Yeah, that should give people a better idea of what kind of person that we talking about here.
Gon also spoke directly on how the alleged $100,000 figure could have moved through the streets.
If it was $100,000 on the table that I'm not aware of, then yeah, I could see, bro, you know what I'm saying, going with a move.
The story about Big Juke ghosting the shooters became one of the loudest pieces of the whole case.
Send him a letter with $500, I think.
Oh, Juke was a rotten motherfucker. He was a rotten motherfucker. So them hadn't even talked to Juke before. They just heard it was a $100,000 hit.
No, they talked to him on the phone, on FaceTime a few times through a middleman. And I think they met him one or two times.
They met him a few times, talked to him, and then he ghosts him like that?
Yep. He said it's too high, I'll pay you when it cool down. Never paid him.
The legal fallout reshaped Memphis rap. Justin Johnson got found guilty in September 2024 and got hit with life. Hernandez Gon beat his case, and through every hearing, one name kept popping up even though its owner couldn't answer for himself. Big Juke. He was never charged, never indicted, never got the chance to deny nothing under oath. But the prosecutorial frame was already set. The story of Big Juke as the man who put the bag on Dolph's head was already public. Streets believed Retaliation found him. To understand how the Retaliation theory took over, you got to know how deep the rivalry between Yodi and Young Dolph really ran. The beef ain't start in 2021. It went back to around 2014 when Dolph publicly turned down a CMG offer and made himself the proud face of an independent paper route empire. The beef escalated through every stage Memphis rap rivalries passed through subliminal diss tracks like Play With Ya, where Dolph went directly at Gotti by name, and aggressive responses from CMG-aligned artists like Black Youngsta, and the beef kept blurring into real-world violence. February 2017, Dolph's SUV got hit with over 100 rounds in Charlotte, North Carolina, and only the bulletproof paneling on his ride saved him. September 2017, Dolph caught multiple bullets outside a retail store in Hollywood. Each one fed the same narrative. The beef had moved off the records. By the time Dolph got hit at Makitas, the streets ain't need no press conference. They knew the history. They knew the timeline. They knew the beef. And when Cornelia Smith took the stand in 2024 and testified that Big Juke paid the bag, the public red clicked into place. It wasn't just a rap beef gone too far. It was a coordinated lick, a $100,000 contract issued from inside one of the most powerful labels in the country. Some Memphis observers even pointed out that the Dolph killing investigation had touched on possible gang retaliation, the kind of layered violence that Memphis Police's own gang unit had been tracking for years. That's why when Big Juke got smoked in January 2024, Memphis filled in the blanks before the laws even released a statement. The Hickory Hills shooting followed the same playbook that took off. Public spot, targeted vehicle, multiple shooters, fast exit, total silence. After Big Juke had allegedly put the bag on Dolph, Now Big Juke was hit. The retaliation theory got more juice from voices inside the streets, even when they framed the response as a critique. One Memphis figure went viral, arguing Big Juke got hit because the original job ain't get finished.
Y'all want to know the real reason Big Juke got killed? He was lazy. Yeah, I said it. Lazy. He ain't finished the job, man. You know, you can't just get rid of one piece and not get rid of the rest of the pieces. Yeah, and that's not it. He's seen it coming. There's other stuff that happened here recently.
Blunt as it was, it captured the dominant theory in the M perfectly. Whoever wanted Dolph dead also wanted everybody connected to Dolph dead. And whoever wanted Big Juke dead worked with the same brutal logic. Gavin himself echoed the same idea about how the streets really move. That even with security around you, the only person you can really trust is yourself.
You know, you don't depend on no. And then, you know, you should have had your own too. You know, you ain't nobody gonna protect me like me.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't give a how long you've been security or whatever the case may be. Ain't nobody gonna protect me like me.
That's the backdrop. The Bo Lil Kenny pickup landed on in January 2026. Memphis YouTube was already locked into the Dolph case, already primed to look for whoever hit Big Juke. Anybody who got dragged out of bush after a wild chase in Memphis was going to get examined under that lens. Kenny just happened to fit the pattern in a way that made the speculation explode. His verses had references to Memphis sets, to local violence, to feuds that observers tied loosely to the bigger Memphis battlefield. When viral channels pulled bars out his catalog and lined them up with Big Juke details, the reach was immediate. Then there was the way Kenny had been moving on social media. Old posts started resurfacing. Clips of him flexing on IG. Freestyles where he taunted ops. People built timelines from his social. They argued he'd been comfortable in the bushes like he'd spent the year and a half between Big Juke's death and his own pickup right out in the open, untouchable until something finally cracked. He was, in the eyes of the rumor mill, the man Yoti's camp had been quietly hunting since the day Big Juke hit the ground. And Yoti's silence, again, did the rest of the work. Minimal direct comment, occasional cryptic posts to viewers who already believed the streets had took Big Juke back. That silence wasn't ignorance, it was patience. Separating rumor from record, here's what the actual record shows about Bo Lil Kenny's January 2026 pickup. MPD did pull him out the bushes after a chase. That part is real. The chase was real. The bailout was real. The arrest was real. What the chase, the bailout, and the arrest were not connected to based on every single mainstream Memphis news outlet was Big Juke's murder. For the actual charges filed and reported, Kenny got booked on offenses related to evading arrest, reckless driving, operating a vehicle with tinted windows in violation of Tennessee law, and possible drug possession. There was no first-degree murder charge filed against him. No homicide indictment, no reference to the Big Juke investigation in the charging documents. He got held briefly at Shelby County and walked out within days. A sequence that's straight up impossible if he'd actually been arrested as a suspect in a high-profile, unsolved murder. Suspects in cases like that don't walk in 48 hours. The math don't math. Once he was out, Kenny addressed the speculation directly. He said he caught extra hours in interrogation, specifically because of how loud the online conversation got with investigators reportedly questioning him about the rumors built up around his name. He said he ain't have nothing to do with Big Juke's death. He said he wasn't seeking clout from none of it. He called the internet a dangerous drug, describing how fast online speculation can warp into perceived fact. His statement lined up with the actual investigative status of the case. Per the Commercial Appeals August 2025 update, MPD continued to publicly state they had no named suspects in Big Juke's murder. Over 18 months after the Hickory Hill shooting, the case stayed open and unsolved. No arrests, no publicly identified suspects, no grand jury indictment. There hasn't been no major Memphis news outlet, not Fox 13, not Action News 5, not the Commercial Appeal that has reported any arrest, indictment, or charges against Bo Lil Kenny in connection with Big Juke's murder. The self-snitching lyrics that fueled so much of the speculation also fall apart under a closer look. Memphis rap as a genre is famously stacked with violent imagery, gang references, and street content. Pulling specific bars from a Memphis rapper's catalog and matching them up with details of an unsolved hit lands by coincidence way more often than by confession. Many of the specific details claimed to be things only the shooter would know turned out to be either widely available info or generic Memphis rap content under any actual investigative standard. Them lyrics ain't add up to no confession. Even the imagery of him getting pulled from the bushes, symbolic as it was a function of the chase, not of guilt. Suspects routinely try to lay low when they bail out a whip. The bushes ain't established no connection to no homicide. As for the Yodi found him framing, there ain't no public, verifiable evidence backing it. Yodi has not publicly named Kenny in connection with his brother's death. CMG ain't put out no press release naming nobody. The found him framing exists in the title because the speculation generated it, not because the facts established it. Even within Memphis itself, the pushback against the rumor was already building before Kenny gave his own statement. One widely circulated post from somebody claiming to have spoke directly to Kenny called the whole connection fake news. So, the verdict on the title is straightforward. Big Juke's killer hasn't been identified by police. Gotti hasn't publicly identified nobody as the killer. Bo Kenny was arrested in January 2026, but for traffic and evasion-related offenses, not for Big Juke's murder. He was released within days. He addressed the rumors directly and denied any involvement. As of the most recent reporting, Memphis police continues to list the Big Juke investigation as open with no named suspects and no public confirmation of a break in the case. The killer breaking silence after Yo Gotti found him narrative was a product of the viral Memphis rumor mill. A mix of real arrest footage, real Memphis rap context, real lingering grief over Big Juke's death, and a hunger for closure. The actual investigation hasn't produced yet. A man got killed in broad daylight outside a restaurant in January 2024. His family been waiting for answers for over 2 years. MPD ain't closed the case. Whoever pulled the trigger outside Paranons that day is still unidentified by the laws and still unnamed by any credible source. Until that changes, Bo Lil Kenny's pickup will sit where it actually belongs in the long Memphis tradition of street rumor outpacing street fact. Peace. Till next time, check out our other content on